SNESdrunk. One reason I've always stuck with Super Nintendo through thick and thin over the past 20 plus years is that there's a certain simplicity to most of the games. It seems like there's just more direction and more focus. So I've tried to come up with a few more modern games on Steam that match what I like about the Super Nintendo. Now, these games aren't exactly earth-shattering new discoveries. Plenty of these are very well known, and you've likely heard of most of them. But there might be a couple on this list you've never heard about that you might want to look into. Especially if you're anything like me, I don't really follow gaming in real time. But yeah, I've been getting into more indie games lately on Steam, so I'm only going to talk a little bit about each game and show off some footage. There's nothing in depth here. Let's get the super duper popular games out of the way first. First is Limbo. I know, everybody's already slobbered all over this game, but hey, now it's my turn. This is just one of those games where you forget you're playing a game. I mean, just look at this. I'm almost afraid to talk over the footage because I feel like I'm ruining it somehow. Limbo is a very straightforward side-scroller segmented into about 30 puzzles or so that get more complex as you go along. It's very cleverly designed, and the atmosphere is just fucking awesome. Playing this game with the lights off is the greatest. The only flaw is that pressing up is jump, but I got over that pretty quickly. Yeah, Limbo won tons of awards, and it doesn't need more hype from the likes of a SNESdrunk. But I wanted to bring some attention to it on this particular channel because the game is a bit of a throwback. It fits in really well with the Super Nintendo library, in my opinion. And not only is Limbo available on Steam, but it's on the PlayStation Network, Xbox Live Arcade, and OS X, and Linux, and PlayStation Vita, and like a million other platforms. This game is everywhere, for God's sake, so just go play it. If you need something a little more friendly and colorful, then check out Braid. Again, this game has been praised to death, but if you like 16-bit era side-scrollers like Donkey Kong Country or Super Ghouls and Ghosts, then you gotta check out Braid. It's an addicting side-scroller because it gives you no excuse but to keep going forward because you can manipulate time. That allows you to take a trial-and-error approach that's stress-free. If you screwed up, you can rewind and fix what you did. You don't have to play the whole damn level all over again. Anyway, you collect puzzle pieces to advance to the next level, and man, it is tough as hell at times. And hey, if you happen to be an English major, there's a super deep, profound, and vague story behind everything that people are still debating about today. I guess it's up to you, the player, to determine its meaning, so if you're into that, there's that too. Not to slag on the game for that, it's just not my thing. If you want more direct storytelling in your platformers, there's Teslagrad, a beautiful looking game that does a nice job streamlining gameplay and storytelling. There's no BS here, no dialogue even. In fact, I don't think there's a single word in the entire game. Everything is told visually. It's very creative. The gameplay uses the basic principles of electricity to solve puzzles. Charging objects with a positive or negative charge, sometimes even charging yourself to get places. This game is very thoughtful and similar to Limbo in that way. Even at its most frustrating, there's always a solution and a way to keep going. You know it's there, it's just a matter of working through to find it. The game does involve a fair amount of backtracking, so it's kind of Metroidian, Metroid-like, whatever the word is. It's like Metroid. But again, this is another brilliantly imagined and very creative platformer. Another massively popular game is Cave Story. Yeah, really breaking new ground here. It's only one of the most popular games of the last few years. But hey, there's a chance if you subscribe to this channel because you love Super Nintendo stuff and retro gaming in general, but shy away from modern games, then I gotta point out Cave Story because it's freaking great. Now, if you want even more Metroid-type exploration and even more story, pretty heavy story no less, then this is your game. The gameplay is like a ginormous melting pot between like 15 different games. It's got leveling up like Blaster Master, it's got different weapons like Mega Man, the level design reminds me of Metroid sometimes, the story reminds me of Earthbound, the multiple endings of course reminds me of Chrono Trigger. Cave Story has been hyped to death for a reason, because it's really effing good. Switching gears a bit, there's Foul Play, a beat-em-up that demonstrates a thorough understanding of how effective beat-em-ups can be as games. Step 1 is to give an incentive to progress despite the gameplay being repetitive button mashing. Foul Play does that by setting the stage, literally, for a lot of weirdness and unpredictable craziness. You want to keep playing just to see what happens next. Step 2 is to reward the repetitive button mashing with cool combos and stuff. And Step 3 is to make it satisfying to kick someone's ass. You know I'm all about the kick-punch sound effect. Anyway, Foul Play is unique where it has a meter that measures your audience's enthusiasm for what you're doing. Lose the audience and you lose the game. Next there's Legend of Dungeon, where you explore 26 randomly generated levels filled with monsters. There's a lot of replay value here because everything really is randomly generated each time you play the game. Pretty cool. It reminds me of the ancient cave in Lufia 2. There's magic, there's swords, there's just about everything you'd expect from something titled Legend of Dungeon. Makes me think of one of the many medieval-themed beat-em-ups from Capcom on the Super Nintendo. Legend of Dungeon also has a local 4-player co-op, so if you're into that, that's an option for you as well. Next, there's a few twin-stick shooters I like. First is Geometry Wars Retro Evolved. It's just a shoot 'em up in a confined space. The further along you get, the more chaotic things are. This game, as you can see, is a major trip to look at. But most of all, I love the simplicity here. Left analog controls the ship, right analog controls the direction you fire. There's only one game mode here, and that's how long can you last. Rack up the highest score you can. Best I can do, as you can see there, is a paltry 211,000. Clearly I need some work. Waves is another twin-stick shooter, only this time you're a ball rolling around shooting other balls. Again, the idea is simple, just get the high score using combos, bombs, and bullet time to destroy these virus or bacteria-looking hexagonal stuff that grows. I'm boring, so this is the main mode I play, but there's tons of different modes. But it's very addicting to see the biggest combination score you can get. Assault Android Cactus has a little more personality, again a twin-stick shooter, but this one is kind of like an updated version of the Smash TV style gameplay, with tons of power-ups and weapons, and some variety in the level design. But yeah, shoot everything that moves pretty much. It's good fun, but you keep your battery charged to pick up all the stuff you can, or you're done. Now, if you're into weird shit, then there's Bad Hotel. I have no frickin' clue what the hell is happening. It's a basic tower defense game, but on crack, and LSD, and more LSD, and more crack. It's intensely strange, but I like it. If you're gonna take a simple concept like this for a game, you might as well go out and go insane with it. Anyway, there's 10 modern games there that, if you're primarily into retro gaming, you should check these out too. Thanks for watching, I hope you have a great rest of your day.